This video is sponsored by Ahead Music. Hi, this is Gregor from BassTheWorld.com and here's my review of the Fernandes Retrospect 5 Deluxe JP, which is actually a really long name for a bass guitar. Fernandes is based in Japan and on the market since 1969, so for quite a while now. Nowadays they run different factories in different countries of the world and produce guitars and basses of all price ranges. What they are probably known for best is their sustainer kit. That's basically something like an E-bow that's built in a pickup, but this is guitar stuff, so... This beauty here was built in Japan. That means this is the real stuff, a piece of real craftsmanship and not just something like an industrial product. The first impression looks kinda like a jazz bass. But once you've checked the specs list, you know that some things are really different. Let's start with the overall design. Getting this bass in your hands gives you an impression of perfect craftsmanship. Everything seems well done. The neck sits perfect in its pocket and there are no unpleasant gaps or something. The high gloss finish looks great. It won't get much better even from high expensive boutique brands. The body seems much more like coming from a 4-string than from a 5-string. You can see it's really not that far from a regular shape. It's made of ash, or that's what they say on the website. I believe it's swamp ash because the bass is relatively lightweight and on this model you can see the typical grain of swamp ash. Anyway, ash is ash and what it always provides is a good portion of Fender attitude and this powerful but slightly laid back attack that we all like so much. The neck feels downsized too, not shorter but thinner. Not really like a 4-string, but definitely also not what I would expect from a 5-string. The most basses I'm using have a string spacing of 19mm at the bridge and 10mm at the nut. This one here got 17.5 at the bridge and 8.5 at the nut. That means we have it all 6mm less distance between the strings on both sides. That may sound not that much to some of you, but believe me, it feels very different. Especially when you try to slap this beast, you feel the difference. You can get it done, but regarding this fact, I would suggest this bass much more to fingerstyle players. I like the fact that I didn't put a tiny Ibanez Soundgear series kind of profile on this neck. It's a mix of a C and a D profile, not too fat, but you definitely get something in your hand. The neck is a major sound influence and it's good when there's enough wood to actually do this job. I think this solid piece of straight grown maple is a good compensation for the narrow string spacing. It needs some time to get used to this neck, but after a while it feels good to me. Not usual, but good. What makes it even better is the satin finish. It's so thin that it feels like you're touching the wood. This is close to the feeling you get from an old, often played instrument. They make you feel connected and won't get sticky when you're sweating. The fretboard is made from a nice piece of rosewood, 5mm strong and with a 16-inch fingerboard radius. Dots on front and side and 22 jumbo frets. That all seems pretty good. The only thing I don't like is how they take care for the right string pressure at the nut. The A and the D string can be happy to get some help by the string retainer, but you need to put on your strings carefully to fix this problem for the other ones. I don't really get why they don't come up with a better solution. Even Fender has one. It's not the best I can think of, but at least they did something. But what I like very much is this Music Man kind of way to adjust the truss rod. Someone just explained me that this is not the best solution, but as a musician I don't care. I love it. You don't need any special tools to make your neck setup, you can just use any screwdriver or something. That's cool. The die-cast tuners come from Goto and seem to be pretty solid. The bridge is a Goto vintage type model, not such a modern high-mass bridge the most people would expect from such a modern bass. I like that the old school bridges give basses a wider dynamic range and I like dynamics. Anyway, let's sum up what we got so far. We have a 4-string kind of 5-string jazz bass design. We have a very comfortable weight. We have a slim body, slim fingerboard, a nicely rounded and finished neck. So far seems like an easy fingerstyle player to me. let's have a look at the electronic department. Instead of classic single coil pickups, this bass got a set of active EMGs. These pickups are single coils too, but each one houses a small preamp that pre-shapes the tone. This is also responsible for a relatively high output volume and less humming issues compared to traditional coils. EMG always sound a bit special. They don't care so much about vintage jazz bass sounds. Sound is always hard to describe. Just try them by yourself or listen to Tomek. To shape the sound to your needs, this Fernandes got a really versatile EQ section. Volume, pickup balance, boost and cut controls for bass, mids and treble. The mid section got an additional frequency range control. This is called a semi-mid parametric, and once you get used to it you can dial in almost everything you will ever need. Such an electronic department is so versatile you can imitate a lot of classic bass sounds. It's like a sonic chameleon, and that's what I actually like about EMG pickups. Some people say these pickups miss what we could call an own personality. I say exactly this makes them even better when it comes to shaping the sound to your own needs. By the way, there is of course no active passive switch on this bass. These pickups are active, that means they are always hungry. It would just make no sense to switch off the EQ section, so if you get one of these basses, make sure always to carry an extra battery in your gig bag. If the battery dies, this bass becomes completely useless. Okay, it still looks pretty, but that's all. So for what kind of bass players is this bass made for? I think it's still some sort of jazz bass. The big thing about jazz basses is that they are simple but also versatile at the same time. They fit in every style of music and every kind of band, not only because of their basic sound concept, but also because of their classic and old school look. This is what the most people see when they think about a bass guitar, but of course those who prefer traditional jazz basses won't get happy with this one. This is a bass for those who like classic looks but prefer modern technology pimp stuff over passive instruments. This may sound weird, but I guess the majority of female bass players will love it. For any reason, when they go to a guitar store looking for a new bass, they almost always ask for small necks and narrow string spacing. Don't ask me why, that's just what I experienced in my years working in music shops. Pick players will love it too. Always when I play music that requires a pick, I really start to hate my basses with their wide and fat necks. This one here would be just right for this kind of stuff, especially for fast playing. I'm having this bass for something like 3 months or so now here in my studio, and as I mentioned earlier, when you're coming from a regular string spacing, you definitely need some time to get used to it. But after this time I can say I really like it. It's an interesting experience and I guess I will miss it a bit. And the sound of this bass is cool anyway. So that's it so far. Thanks to Ahead Music for sending me this bass for this review. Thanks for your patience, cause this took a bit longer than we expected. And thanks to you for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and then see you next time. Bye.